YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. We got score predictions for Week 14 of the NFL season. We do this video every Wednesday afternoon. Also take a look at the lines on the game, see if there's any worth putting money on. We got straight up picks with the other guys at the Goat House already up. We do those every week. We got power rankings. We got all kinds of NFL content. So join us, like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Be much appreciated. Check out our Twitter. A lot of action on that Twitter. A lot of NFL action. Link down below, pinned in the comments, along with links to recent videos. So go ahead and check it out. Here's our Twitter. Surprise release, Zach Cunningham. Talking about potential landing spots and more, who he fits, goes on waivers. We're always talking about stuff like that on our Twitter, so check it out at GoDos NFL. Thursday night football, the Vikings are favored. A little surprising. I mean, a game that really could go either way. But I'm going to go to Steelers here. I'm going to go Steelers by 3. Actually, the Vikings offense has not been a problem. The Vikings offense has been pretty good, but I'm feeling defensive game in this one. Vikings just don't seem to show up in prime time, especially the offense for some reason. So that doesn't mean necessarily it's going to keep happening. But I'm feeling the Steelers here. They're kind of in that mode where, hey, we can make the playoffs still. Technically, the Vikings can as well, but it's hard to trust them. It's hard to pick Vikings games in general because, they go beat the Packers one week and lose the Lions another week. So pretty tough, but Vikings, like many teams, are very, very beat up right now, and the main problem, Thielen being out, it's really Justin Jefferson just trying to carry the load, and he can, but in the offensive line, it was kind of a mess last week. Had to move guys around, so I think a guy like TJ Watt, Cam Hayward should be able to feast in this one, resulting in more of a defensive game. Najee Harris has been a little quiet recently. I think he gets going in this game. Run game, but mainly look out for him to kind of get going in the passing game, slip screens, and get him out in space. I think that'd be pretty big for them here. It's different. You can actually run against the Steelers this year, so maybe, a guy like Alexander Madison has a big game. It's a reason the Vikings win, but I'm going to trust the Steelers more in this one in prime time, even though it's in Minnesota. I'm going to go with them 23-20. Deontay Johnson's been playing good. Claypool can get going in this game. Vikings defense has not been good. It's been hurt, but a lot of teams been hurt. It has not been good. Ravens-Browns, I thought I was getting bold with this one, kind of. Picking the Browns, I was a little surprised by the line. Somewhat surprised. It kind of makes sense. I still thought the Ravens, if I had to predict the Ravens, would be favored, but it kind of makes sense because the Browns play the Ravens, then they have a bye, and then they play the Ravens again. So it's kind of an ultimate setup for the Cleveland Browns. They get the game plan for the team. They were just, fresh. We just saw that these guys, we can make adjustments properly to win this game while we got that much needed rest. While the Ravens, we got to watch them play the Steelers in a physical game where their star corner Marlon Humphrey got hurt. The Browns got an advantage in this one. They got a big advantage in my opinion. They're going to have to win this game. I think I said in the picks video, I'm kind of out on them if they lose this game, which is kind of an odd one because if you lose to the Ravens, it's not the end of the world, but they kind of got it made for them with this scheduling, odd scheduling. So I'm going to take the Browns, and I'm feeling them because of the matchup as well here 2 weeks later from playing them last time because Marlon Humphrey's out. Most important position on the Ravens defense is corner. Most teams, it's somewhere on the defensive line, mainly pass rush, but it's corner because they want to, they want to blitz. They want to run cover zero. They don't want to have safeties in the back end and coverage. And can you do that without now 2 star corners because Marcus Peters has been out the whole time? So do they got to change up their defense? You already kind of want it's ideal to stack the box against the Browns because they still have that rushing attack. And you kind of get a 2-for-1 there with the Ravens because they're usually in the box anyways, and they can usually stop the run. But now you might need help over the top. So the Browns should be able to be a factor in both of those, run game and pass game for those reasons. So, and they're going to blitz Lamar. He's been struggling against the blitz. So I'm feeling the Browns for all the reasons I explained. 24-23. To me, it's a must-win game for pretty much almost any team contending for the playoffs across the NFL. But it's a big one for both teams. Must-win game. It's interesting though because the Ravens typically don't lose after a loss. They typically don't go on a losing streak. So that's a tough part. The Browns have actually been pretty good about that, even though they've had a down year. Now that I think about it, I feel like they haven't really gone on these streaks. They usually figure out a way to bounce back, and now they get a bye week to play the same team, which somebody's going to bounce back. We'll see who it is. I'm going with the Browns. Jaguars and Titans, I ended up having exactly what the line is here on 9. It is a tricky one, though, because the Jags were able to score last time on the Titans pretty well, but now their offense has gotten worse, and it feels like the Titans' defense has gotten better. Maybe the Jags just got a good matchup for their offense against the Titans' defense. Got them scoring 17. It's a tricky one. I don't really see them scoring much more than that. I think max maybe 20. Titans been a little sloppy on offense, but I think they'll do enough. Maybe more field goals than touchdowns. Their defense will make that play. Do the Jags want to win right now? That's the question. Just not a lot of offense right now. So I'm going to take the Titans. I guess the tricky one about this, putting money on it, the line seems to be accurate. I have the same amount, them winning by. And the Titans usually do play kind of down to their opponent, the weaker opponent. So that's something to remember too. So it doesn't mean they'll do it every time. They're off the bye. Got a little healthier, so we'll see. Raiders and Chiefs, maybe a little closer than last time. It's a pretty big spread here at the 9.5. Even though I have it somewhat close, I think the Chiefs will be pretty comfortable in this one. They'll have the lead the whole time. And the Raiders kind of playing keep up. I've kind of got that feeling. I think the Raiders will kind of play keep up, but the Chiefs just pull away here, win by 3 or so. Last time the Raiders made some mistakes that kind of made it get out of hand. Otherwise, I think they could have had some more success on offense. We've seen the Chiefs not having that much success on offense. I guess last time against the Raiders they did, but more so a defensive team right now. I think maybe a little less defense than the Chiefs, a little more offense, get the job done here. Raiders just so hard to predict. They're very inconsistent the second half of the year, and I got the Chiefs pulling it off. They continue that streak. Again, somewhat close, but I think it'd be a kind of a comfortable, if you know what I mean, kind of comfortable for the Chiefs. The Raiders just trying to keep up. This is kind of my feeling on the game. Saints and Jets, it sounds like Taysom Hill will give it a go. Last night when our picks, I wasn't really sure. We knew he wanted to give it a go, but they haven't really said who was going to be the quarterback and are they kind of playing with the Jets, game plan. But I think they're going to give Taysom Hill a go. It's really what it sounds like. How effective will he be? I think he'll be effective on the ground, not so much the passing game. I don't think they'll try to go too crazy in the passing game. I think they'll be effective on the ground. I think they'll make plays on defense. Zach Wilson, the Jets offense, actually feels like they're getting a little better maybe, but I still like the Saints defense. I keep saying that. They've been giving up some points, but it's more because of the offense. I like their defense in this one. I think they'll create some turnovers. They're going to take away the run, the Jets running game, especially. I think Michael Carter could have been, a different type of running game where they maybe have success because he gets outside, he's good in space, he catches the ball, but obviously they don't have him. Just your typical run game, Tevin Coleman and those guys. I think the Saints will shut that down, force the Jets into obvious passing situations where the Saints defense will probably create some plays there. So I'm going to go with the Saints. Still kind of close, though, because I don't know if I trust the Saints offense to really pull away. And then the Jets, they'll maybe have Zach Wilson, Elijah Moore will probably have that big wow play here and there, but not enough of it. Saints defense clutches up, wins that game. Hill on the ground, probably solid. Cowboys and Washington, it's a real tough one to pick here. The Cowboys have been pretty good against the spread this year, though. Not that I would put money on them -4. It's a tricky one. We'll see if the lines are always changing slightly rapidly, though. But they've been pretty good against the spread. It's tough to pick against Washington right now because they're on such a hot streak. I don't know if they're going to keep it up, though. It's tough. They're a much improved team. They're clutch on offense. They're physical on offense. They win the time possession. They're definitely better on defense. Again, I keep saying it. They've been kind of keeping these teams in games in good teams sometimes, but that they're just completely outplaying. I think if they outplay the Cowboys for 3 quarters, kind of like Washington's been doing against other teams, Cowboys could beat them with that 1 quarter. So it's going to be an interesting one to see if Washington can put a team away. I got a feeling they might outplay them for at least 2 quarters here. But I do think Dak has success in the passing game, with the collection of receivers here. I think they get rolling. I think Dak has a pretty good game here. I could be wrong. Play calling's been pretty off for the Cowboys, but I think they get going in the passing game here. He seems to have success against Washington defense, but they seem to be like a different defense recently. I don't know, which is odd because they don't have Chase Young. But they seem much improved, and not because they're without Chase Young, but it's just a coincidence, I think, there. I think the Cowboys do enough in the passing game. Washington be trying to keep up there in the end. I think Washington, again, could have control maybe at halftime, barely. I'm going to go with Cowboys, though. It's definitely a toss-up game. I think they could split. They'll play each other twice still. We'll see what happens in this one. I'll probably, whoever loses in this one, I might be picking next time. We'll see when we get there. It is a tricky one, though. Falcons and Panthers, another toss-up one. The Panthers are actually favored by 3. I think it's because of matchup purposes. It's why they won the last time, because they have a heavy blitz defense. pretty sound defense too, all over the place. And they gave the Falcons some problems last time. A lot of pressure on Matt Ryan, forced him in uncomfortable situations. The Falcons really couldn't do anything offensively. Now it's hard to trust the Panthers. They're not getting much going offensively. They do switch offense coordinators. Does that help? We'll see. It's kind of up in the air. Some more guys hurt. I know McCaffrey didn't play against them last time, but you definitely got more injured guys. Dante Jackson, another one out now. I think the Falcons adjust from last time. Cordero wasn't that much of a factor in the game last time. He's getting even better right now. Russell Gage is getting better. Matt Ryan's pretty good in adjusting. We saw these guys, and we know what kind of pressure they're going to give me. I know I got to adjust. I know I got to get the ball out quicker. Maybe we can design some plays. So I think they'll adjust properly here, and it'll be just enough. Still a close game, though, because, the game plan could be hard for the Falcons because I guess what kind of play calls do we expect? Because it's Cam Newton this time. It's a different offense coordinator. It's still a tough defense. So I still think it'll be close. The Falcons adjust and do just enough. That's a tricky one, though. Seahawks and Texans. I got the Seahawks maybe a little closer than expected. It's just tough to figure out the Seahawks because before last week it felt like they could lose to the Texans. This team might lose to the Texans when they play them in a couple weeks. That's kind of what it felt like there because they're just 3 and out, bad play calling, Russ a little off, no running game because they're missing Chris Carson. Receivers aren't getting separation, defense giving up third down. So it looked pretty bad. Last week it seemed to change. 30 points put up against a pretty good 49ers team. Maybe they just match up well with the 49ers. Maybe they were fortunate with some of those turnovers, and maybe they're relying on that. And they kind of slow down a little bit offensively. And it is the Texans, though. I think it's another one where I think they'll have control. Like, we'll be feeling like, the Seahawks are going to win this game throughout this game. So maybe the Texans stay close a little bit. Maybe the Seahawks can repeat those turnovers and set themselves up for another 30-point game. It's definitely possible. I'm just not buying into the offense being able to score that many every week, so we'll see. Lions and Broncos. I like the matchup for the Broncos. The Broncos have a good defense, a defense to really slow down the Lions, to not allow them to do much. They may create turnovers off Goff. I don't think they're going to run wild on them, especially without DeAndre Swift. So I think the Broncos got the right defense to stop the Lions too, and most teams do, not the Vikings, but to stop the Lions to 13 points. And Broncos don't have a whole lot on offense, but I think they'll have enough here. I think their defense will set them up. I think Javonte Williams has a big game again, and their defense will set them up. I got them winning by 11 for that, more of a defensive game. I'd be surprised the Lions scored a good amount of points in the 20s in this one. I'd be confused on what happened with the Broncos there if that was the case. Giants and Chargers, it honestly is a little bit of a tricky one here. We expect the Chargers to win. They should win. They are very inconsistent. It's a team, like I say it every week, they can beat anybody and they can lose to anybody. And they've struggled against those good physical defenses. And the Giants have a good physical defense, well coached on defense. And Chargers have kind of struggled against them there. But I just don't trust the Giants' offense here. I just do not trust them, even though there is a way they can beat them with their offense. We'll get to that. But it's going to be Glennon out there again. It could be Fromm. Heard they might get him some action. He's only been on the team for, it's going on just maybe a week now, around there. So how much does he know? Either way, I think the Chargers will create turnovers. The Giants won't be able to do much on offense, even though there is a way, and that'll set the Chargers offense up. And that's the difference, though, because when the Chargers were playing the other really good defenses, a big part of it that no one was really talking about is the Chargers didn't have that many chances against those really good defenses because they were losing the time possession game. Those teams were also holding the ball for a long time, so Justin Herbert and company had limited reps. Going against this offense that's probably going to go 3 and out, that's probably going to turn the ball over against the Chargers. Justin Herbert finally will finally have more reps against a good defense. So, therefore, they should be able to score. They should have a little more success here. But the Giants could run the ball. Saquon Barkley could run the ball, and you can run the ball against the Chargers. So if they come out and they're just pounding the football, hey, we don't need to pass. We don't want to pass. We don't need to pass. Where they shouldn't want to pass. Last week they threw the ball 44 times when the run could have worked, and so questionable. It's hard to trust them. But they could come out and just pound the football and win that time possession and actually make it so Herbert doesn't have those reps. So it actually could be a little bit of a tricky one. The Chargers should take care of business. I got them by 2 touchdowns. 49ers and Bengals, a very tricky one. Burrow playing with a busted finger. Hopkins and Reef were out last week, and that was definitely a big factor last week against the Chargers for the Bengals. Logan Wilson, their stud linebacker, is going to be out. Awuzie is kind of up in the air, but could they be getting a guy like Trey Waynes back? So it's a game I can see myself switching, still trying to learn more here about what's going on with the injuries. 49ers are missing Deebo Samuel again. Obviously, that's a huge part of their offense, one of the best players in football this year. I'm going to go Bengals, though. I guess, it's kind of up in the air. It's kind of up in the air. Will Burrow be okay? I think the key here is when the 49ers lost games, they didn't really feel like themselves, like the 49ers, which was physical, pound the football, punch you in the mouth, win the time of possession football. That's kind of what that's what it was. And sometimes they didn't do it for some reason, and sometimes they couldn't do it. And a team like the Bengals have been kind of slowing down at least those types of teams. So the Bengals are a tough team to run against, but you take Logan Wilson out of the equation. Can you run on the Bengals? I mean, these are, your guess is as good as mine at this point. They'll be affected by it. But the Niners, when they are on in their running game, they are on. They look like a different machine. I don't know. Can the Bengals' stout run defense stop them? It's kind of up in the air here with this one. You take Deebo Samuel out of the equation, though. It's a little different. That's what happened last week, I think, against Seattle. So I like the Bengals defense to slow down the run, maybe not completely stop it. Elijah Mitchell dealing with the injury as well. I like them to slow down the run, and they kind of can create plays, maybe get a turnover on Garoppolo. I guess Awuzie, is he in or out? That's kind of the big question. He's questionable last I checked. That's kind of a big question. And the Bengals could do enough against the 49ers defense, maybe more of a field goal battle. But I got the Bengals for those reasons. That's a hell of a game, though. Definitely one that injuries could definitely play a part. It's kind of every game, though. Bills and Bucks. I got the Bills in this one. I saw this one coming up in the schedule a couple weeks ago, and I was kind of feeling it. So it's a mixture of gut. The Bills, everyone's ripping them. They lost to a quarterback that threw the ball 3 times at home, big game. And the Bucks were always hot on the Bucks, kind of. We're always high on them. But so it's kind of a gut, but at the same time, I look at the matchup, too. The Bills got a problem running the football. They don't run the ball, and they don't run the ball effectively. But you don't want to run the ball against the Bucks anyways. The best run defense of football. And you could pass on the Bucks. And I think Josh Allen had a good game, I thought, in against the Wind last week. Those guys are pissed off, obviously. I think they'll be able to sling it against the Bucks and have a good amount of scoring here. And just really get going from the start. And then defensively, the Bucks haven't seen too many great defenses like this. Why? It could be, that's weird because I could see it being a 30-27 like I have, or I could see it kind of being like the Washington game for the Bucks where it's definitely like low scoring. And they see this tough defense that's kind of similar to Washington's actually. That's just going to slow them down, create plays. I think missing Tre'Davious White is the big one here. If he was playing, I'd feel a little more comfortable too. Obviously, he's out for the year. But I think the Bills got the formula to beat the Bucks. I think they got that stout defense. I think they got that offense to pass on them. You don't really have to worry about having X amount of runs or, So I like the Bills to figure things out. They need a statement win big time. Right? They're looking for one. And they get one here against the Bucks. It'll be a fun game. It's just really a gut feeling of mine here. But again, there was some parts of the matchup that really show that. Another thing is, too, there's teams that good defenses sometimes don't look as good against the Bucks because Tom Brady's so good and they have the high-powered offense. But a big reason is because a lot of the good defenses have very good pass rushes, and they're mainly good because of their pass rush. But then you go and play the Bucks offensive line and Brady making the adjustments and reading the rushes, and it's just kind of completely taken away. The Bills aren't that type of defense. They're not going to go in and get crazy pressure anyways. It's more of a technically sound defense, just physical, high motor, team defense, everyone flying the ball. So I do like that part of them going against the Bucks as well. Again, I feel a little better with Tre'Davious White in there. He's not in there, but I'm feeling the Bills for those reasons. We'll see what happens. Sunday night, would think they would flex us out, but it's just such a big rival game, a lot of big, huge fan bases, so I guess that makes sense, but they kept it. But I like the Packers in this one. Bad time for the Bears to play the Packers in Lambeau, in the cold. They just actually got healthier when they were pretty beat up. Off a bye week. They're going to get going. A little more scoring in this one in the last meeting. The Bears are probably, what they're going to have to do is come out and pound the football to David Montgomery, who's a very solid back but playing very well, and try to run on them and try to make Rodgers sit on the sideline and try to just drain the clock so the Packers have not too many chances. And the Bears could do that. They could actually have success doing that, but I still, even if they have success running the ball, running the clock, I still don't think it's enough. I still think, Rodgers doesn't need, he can work with limited chances. So even if the Bears do succeed in that area, I just don't think the Bears have enough in this game, in the coaching in this game. So I like the Packers. Shouldn't really be surprised here. Monday Night Football, big one here for the NFC West, Rams and the Cardinals. I like the Cardinals, 27-23, maybe less scoring, I should say, for the Cardinals this time. The Rams actually did they score 20 last time? I'm pretty sure 20, so they get 3 more points. It's a tricky one, though. It's just kind of one of those where I could see, because a lot of these times, 2 good division teams, they just split. It's just how it is. They just split. So I kind of could just see the Rams winning. But it's just impossible to pick against the Cardinals. It's one where the Rams win and we all could be like, yeah, we kind of saw it coming. They could split. I won't really be mad at myself that I picked the Cardinals because it's just kind of like something you have to do at this point. And it's not so much because the Cardinals are hot, maybe the hottest team in football this year, maybe the best team in football. It plays a little bit of a part. It's just more so the last meeting. And I'm not a guy that's going to base a lot of things off the last meeting either, but because sometimes when a team dominates the other team, it's because they work so well in this area. They dominate them so well in this specific area or 2 or 3. But the Cardinals had everything going for them. I mean, they had the right game plan. They kept everything underneath from the Rams. I think they were kind of focusing on Cooper Kupp a lot. On offense, they were able to get Kyler Murray outside, run him, have him throw on the run, go downfield, go underneath, run the ball straight up the middle because there was a lot of space because the Rams all of a sudden were worried about staying outside for Kyler Murray. They had them beat, and they were in their heads every category. So will it be the same thing this time? I don't think so, and that's why I have the Cardinals scoring a little less points there, still enough. But I still think they're going to dominate enough areas here to win the game. So that's the tricky part. The Rams got to worry about so much. We talked about it last week too. The Rams all of a sudden, last time the Cardinals game plan, they played kind of soft. They kept everything underneath. Let's focus on Cooper Kupp because that's where he's going to look. Stafford, that's where he's going to look mainly. But then the Rams threw out some play action. They've thrown it out here and there in games this year, but they threw out some in the second half against the Jags. And now are they going to start to run something different to beat the Cardinals? Or are they getting ready for that? Or are they getting that on tape so the Cardinals got to worry about that and they want to go back to their game? Another thing where your guess is as good as mine here. So we're going to wait and see what the Rams do here, what they throw out against the Cardinals. But Rams against these good teams recently, tough to trust them, and I think they'll figure it out. They're going to be a dangerous team in the playoffs. It's just when do they figure it out? They could figure it out here. They have that kind of, in a bad way, at turnover potential. The Cardinals have that, in a good way, have that turnover creating potential on defense, so they might be the defense is playing so good right now. They're playmakers out there. So Rams could win. It's tough to pick against Cardinals in this game. I got 27-23 here, Cardinals. I'm excited for that one because it's still some questions like what type of offense the Rams going to run. That's kind of the good thing with the Rams, though. They've been running this, straight drop back. You don't have to worry about, Stafford getting outside. We're going to throw downfield, and they can run, too. But they can run, too. That's kind of the big thing here. All of a sudden they can unleash more of these outside runs, maybe some more of those zone runs, and then throw in some play action with it. And they can unleash that in like an NFC championship type of atmosphere game here. Or in the playoffs, if they get the NFC Championship game, they can unleash this stuff and just throw everybody off with this collection of different things. So there is a secret sauce in there for the Rams right now that can make them very, very dangerous. And so I'm not really going to doubt them in terms of their play calling. It's got to be better. They actually have to go and execute and do these things. So they could be dangerous. It's just a matter of staying healthy. Is Stafford 100%? So that's kind of where I'm focusing on here with the Rams. So I can't wait to see what they got for us here. We'll see if the Cardinals remain hot. That wraps it up for my Week 14 score predictions. We're back every single week with this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Full NFL coverage here. Check out our Twitter link, pinned in the comments, along with recent videos. Check it all out. Much appreciated. Thanks for watching this video. Goodbye.